Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Single Muslim Live here on British Muslim TV, sponsored by SingleMuslim.com. I'm Fahima Mohammed, your host and your relationship coach. A very warm welcome from all of us here on British Muslim TV to all of you wherever you're streaming, whether it's live on Sky Channel 752, Facebook or Twitter. We really do appreciate you streaming in constantly, giving us your support. And of course, if you do want to call in and participate in the episode tonight, we would love to hear your comments, queries, any of your voices, any of your questions. And you can do so by dialing directly into the studio on 01924231083. Please make sure you ask the bill payer's permission as standard network rates do apply. And of course, we have our free WhatsApp service. So if you feel that you want to also contact us anonymously by sending in any of your questions, queries to my guest or myself, and I can read them out on the show live tonight. And that number is 07585835150. Now, I just want to say we have another amazing guest tonight, all the way from Gambia, who's going to be talking to me. And I hope that you take the opportunity to even call in to ask any questions, because she's an amazing, really good in her job, in her profession. And hopefully we're going to learn more about her. So please help me welcome. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Hi. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm even more excited. I haven't met anyone so wonderful and bubbly like yourself. So I'm so looking forward to this episode. And it's such a pleasure to have you. Honestly, Rosalind, you are so amazing. I love your work. I love what you stand for, what you do. And obviously, I would love for you to share that with our audience today. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I'm Rosalind Batul. I'm a wealth hypnotist, and my job, my role is to help alpha women, successful women, conquer burnout by healing their childhood traumas. And I've used a process called abundance rewiring, which is a form of hypnosis to help women overcome stress, overcome anxiety, overcome depression, overcome those little habits that we have that really stops us from having it all as women.
I love that. I think it's so powerful. And I really love the title that you have actually chosen, which is Healing Permanently and Having It All. Now, can we really have it all realistically? And if so, how?
Okay, so when we think about having it all, we think about having the full spectrum of something. So let's say, for example, you want to have a Lamborghini, but you believe you have to have like 4 Lamborghinis before you feel like it's good enough. When I say have it all, I mean, you can have doses of each thing. Like you can have a great relationship. It's not going to be perfect all the time, but holistically it's going to be great. You can have money. You may have pitfalls in your money. It may go up and down, but you're still going to have an influx of cash. Your health, you may have moments where your health goes up and down, but you're going to overall have a great relationship with your health. Same with your mental health, same with your spiritual health. It's not like, I think we have this misconception that when we're having it all, it has to be perfect. And I feel like this is the paradox of social media, where we're always seeing the good parts of everything. And we're thinking, well, she has a great relationship, her husband loves her, but we don't see what's going on behind closed doors. So when I say have it all, I mean holistically. When you think about your life, you think 80%, 90% is great. 10% sometimes is not, but that 80, 90% takes over, and alhamdulillah, I'm great.
I love that. I think it's really important that you explain that, because it is true what you're saying. Having it all doesn't mean, everything at once. And we need to have, a little bit of balance, and it might tip at certain times. So I hear you, and I totally agree with that, because a lot of us do have a misconception about, thinking that life has to be in that sort of way. And who came up with that anyway, that it's got to be in that way, where it's consistent and it's uphill the whole time. In fact, we know as we learn and grow is through adversity and challenges. The other aspect of your topic is healing permanently. Obviously, we're going to go in depth into that a lot more into the actual episode. But again, like, does everybody even feel that they need to heal? Does everybody have some sort of minor or, sort of like trauma? I mean, is that just like a sales talk, or is it for real in everyone?
Right. So let me talk about trauma. I think right now, the trauma world is very pain focused. Like everyone's focused on the pain rather than the lesson. And not everything is trauma. And I want to take back the trauma. I want to take back that word trauma to mean something horrific in childhood. We all go through challenges in life. We go through adversities. But what happens is we create a trauma. We create it as children because we weren't given the tools to heal from it. So let's say, for example, I've had so many clients who've had minor incidents in life, but it's really affected their adulthood. So I had a client recently, her dad forgot to pick her up from school. Now, instead of her thinking in her mind, my dad was busy or he must be stuck in traffic, she made it mean that her dad doesn't love her. So in that moment, when her dad came to pick her up, he didn't explain to her that, okay, I was in traffic. He was just really anxious. He was angry. He was flustered. And she made that mean, oh my God, my dad doesn't love me. So I can't expect any love from him right now. I'm going to have to figure this out for myself. And as children, we're very selfish. So what happens is when we go through an adversity in childhood, we make it mean something about us. We don't think in our mind, okay, my mom is a bit upset. My mom is tired. My mom has other kids. My dad is tired. My dad's had a long day at work. We don't think that way. We think it has something to do with us. And usually the beliefs that we create in our subconscious mind is, I'm not good enough. I'm not lovable. I'm not important. I don't matter. I don't belong here. These are the main 5 beliefs that we create in our subconscious mind when we go through an adversity in childhood. Now, trauma, I like to call trauma for what it is, something horrific, like, abuse, whether it's sexual, whether it's physical, whether it's emotional. When you go through something really horrific in childhood, and I also work with clients like that who've gone through something horrific in childhood, and they're still healed permanently just by changing their belief system.
Absolutely. No, I'm glad you cleared that up. And I do feel that a lot of us do get that mixed up, and you explained it very clearly. But do you think that firstly, does it have to be a reoccurrence of a situation for it to cause that, or is it a one-off? And secondly, do you think that parents need to maybe explain themselves a little bit more? Because it's not just about a child, being in a particular way. They are limited in their development, and obviously they are still learning about, understanding life, let alone understanding what a parent might be going through for them to make that meaning. So what's your thoughts on those 2 questions?
Right. So our job as parents, I'm a mom, I have 5 children, mashallah. And my main job is to protect my kids' belief system. So every child is born with all the beliefs. I'm good enough. I'm wealthy. I'm abundant. I'm deserving. I'm worthy. I'm important. I belong here. I matter. We have these beliefs instilled in our DNA. Allah has given it to us. That's what Allah says, that He's created us perfectly, meaning we have all the systems we need to navigate through this world and figure it out. But from the age of birth to around the age of 7, about how the world works. And the way we learn how the world works is through our parents' eyes. And if your parents have gone through trauma, if your parents have gone through adversity, like my parents, my mom, she was a single mother. She went through domestic abuse. She went through a lot of abuse when she was young. So she didn't have the tools to give me in order for me to see the world in a different way. The way I saw it was through my mom's eyes, especially when it came to men. My mom would say to me all the time, don't trust men, don't rely on a man, don't get married. Get your bread, get your money, become financially independent. And if you want to get married, wait till you're 50, then get married. So my mom had that belief, and she instilled that in me, that the only way that I can be supported is just by making it on my own. So when it comes to us experiencing trauma, sometimes it can just be a one-off incident. I remember I had a client, she was 2 years old, and she remembers being in the cot, and her mom left her to have a nap. But in her mind, she thought her mom had abandoned her. And that was just a one-off incident that was replaying in the subconscious mind constantly, and it was telling her that she's not good enough, that she can't start her business, that she can't get married, that she can't have a husband, that she can't have children. That one incident was running the show in her mind. And this is very interesting about our subconscious minds. Our subconscious minds are here to help us navigate through the world. When we're born, we create memories. Those memories run in our mind 24/7 in adulthood. So most of us are walking around like wounded little kids. And I like to say that we're all seeing the world, and that's why we react and we get triggered by so many events. That's why we procrastinate. That's why we attract toxic men, because we're seeing the world through the lens of that wounded little girl who was abandoned and neglected.
Well, you did mention something briefly just now, and I just want to pick up on that. So is it you attract who you are? Is that for real?
Yes, that is real. Now, let me tell you my story. Because I was in a relationship for like 7 years. Mashallah, I have 3 kids from my previous relationship. And in that, when I was married in that relationship, the belief I had in my mind was that I had to fix my dad because I was raised by an abusive man. My father was very abusive, and I grew up in this mindset that my dad didn't love me, so I'm gonna have to find a man to love me. And what I was doing was I was acting like the little girl in that relationship, trying to get my dad to love me. And I noticed this with a lot of women, especially successful women. Like a lot of successful women that I work with, they became successful to compensate for the lack of the father figure in their home. And not, I'm not saying everyone, but I'm saying a lot of the women that I work with have that father wound. So when you are in that state of feeling like I'm not lovable, you will attract a man who also feels like he's not lovable, and he will have a mother wound. You may have a father wound, but he will have a mother wound, and you will both pair bond, you will both trauma bond, and you will try to heal each other. And this is a lesson I want you to learn, that yes, someone may come into your life and they may hurt you, but you're meant to learn a lesson. And the lesson I learned was that I'm worthy. I'm lovable. I matter. I'm deserving of the love that I crave. And when I realized I'm worthy of the love that I crave, I left that relationship and I worked on myself. And when I worked on myself, alhamdulillah, I met my husband now, and mashallah, we have such an amazing relationship. Like, he's my soulmate, and he's my twin flame. I call him my
Wow,
best friend.
amazing.
But that was for me
Thank
doing the inner
you.
work of healing.
Now, thank you so much for explaining that. I also want to thank you for sharing your personal story. I know it's not easy, and I really do appreciate you doing that live on our channel. So we are coming on to a break, so you've actually ended it off nicely for this section, and I have so many questions even by what you've said so far. So please, we are going to be coming back, and I'm going to be asking Rosalind so much more with regards to what she just said, especially about the mummy and the daddy issues. And she went into the explanation about, we do attract who we are, giving her own example. And again, I just want to say that, this is a safe space, and the reason why we have amazing guests like is because they are sharing their experiences as well as their profession and how they help others. And inshallah, if you want to share tonight, comment, or ask any questions, please do call in. We would love to hear from you. But in the meantime, please do stay tuned, as we will be coming back in a few moments. Do not go away, as we have this wonderful lady all the way from Colombia tonight joining us. And I hope to see you in a few moments. Inshallah, a cup of tea or water, and we'll see you shortly. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to Single Muslim Live here on British Muslim TV, sponsored by SingleMuslim.com. Again, I am so excited to have my amazing, bubbly, excitable guest tonight. She's really put a smile on my face, and even her sharing her story, I find it so inspirational. And I know a lot of you, may be also triggered or might be also, resonating with her. So we're here to, assist you tonight. So please do take advantage. If you've just tuned in, please make sure you rewind when it's the end of the show and watch the beginning as well, because there's a lot that Rosalind has shared, which is really powerful. And you are a powerful lady. I have to say, I really do admire you for everything that you stand for. And you've got so much heart and so much love, even though you've been through what you've been through. And, that gives everyone so much hope. And I really do appreciate that. Before the actual break, you mentioned briefly about mummy and daddy issues. We hear that a lot. Can you explain a little bit in detail as to what that means, how it shows up for us, and how can we get rid of it?
Right, yeah. So the mommy wound, I think everyone has like a mommy wound and daddy wound, especially if your parents were boomers. So my mom, she came from a village in Iran, and she moved to the UK, didn't know the language, she had to learn English. She experienced a lot of racism, a lot of segregation when she came to the UK. So if you had a parent who was in survival mode, you are going to also have a mommy wound. So the mommy wound and daddy wound is when your mom and dad are not able to bond with you. Your mom is supposed to release oxytocin when she gives birth to you, and your dad is testosterone level is supposed to lower when he's around you. So if you don't have that, if you're not bonded with your parents, you're going to have that mommy and daddy wound. And what it looks like for us girls, when we have a father wound, we always feel insecure. We feel like not lovable, and we either seek sexual attention, or we seek no attention at all, or we tell ourselves that no man is worth it, or we believe that all men are bad, or we attract toxic men. These are signs that you have a daddy wound. When you have a mommy wound, you don't like support. You don't like being held. You don't like being vulnerable. And you're afraid to be vulnerable because you believe that someone's going to criticize you and judge you. Your mom is supposed to give you that feminine quality, and your dad is supposed to show you what it's like to be around a masculine man. And I always say this, your dad is the first man you will love. So that relationship is very, very sacred. So if you didn't have that feeling of love with your dad, that he loves you unconditionally, you will attract a husband or a partner that will make you look at your life that, okay, I'm still that little girl. I still need to heal. And I'm still not being loved. You will attract a man who will ghost you, who doesn't commit to you, who makes it very difficult for you to feel loved. Like you will have to ask him, like, can you love me? Or can you do this for me? And can you do that for me? And it will feel like you're talking to a brick wall. But really what's going on is in your subconscious mind, you're seeing yourself as that little girl who's not getting loved by her dad. Same with the mommy wound. Now, when you have a mom wound and you're in a relationship, you will mother your husband. And I see this with a lot of my clients that when they're in a relationship, when they're married, they're always saying that my husband doesn't do this for me. And I keep nagging him. I'm like, well, you're not he's not your son. And this is not how men work. You have to use your feminine qualities, start flirting, put on your flirting nature for you to get that attention from your husband. But for us women, we get triggered when we think about, I have to be flirty, I have to be feminine. You don't have to be feminine, but to get your husband's attention, to get your husband to give you what you want, you putting on your feminine nature is just natural. Like me around my husband now, compared to my previous relationship, I am so like just so childlike in a very like innocent way. Like I'm so calm. I'm so at peace. I don't feel like I have to explain myself to him. But in my other relationship, I was always explaining myself, trying to get what I need. And it felt like I was drawing blood from a brick wall. So this is when how you know that you have a mother wound and a father wound, when you are literally, you feel like you're clasping onto straws, like you're grasping onto straws, and it feels like you're not getting what you need. And that's usually because you have to work within. And this is what Allah says in the Quran. Allah says, good men are for good women, bad men are for bad women. Not to say that you attracted a bad guy because you're bad. No, it means that there's something going on within you that needs to heal, because Allah says He doesn't change your condition until you change yourself. When you go within, now what does Allah mean? Change yourself. It means change the way you think, change what you believe, go back to your natural state, which is I'm lovable, I'm worthy, I'm abundant, I'm deserving, I'm important, I belong here. When you go back to your original blueprint, your original state, you will start changing your frequency, you will change your vibration, you will change what you attract, and you will start attracting people, friendships, a man who will love you for who you are.
I love that. Again, I can definitely second everything that you're saying. It's so valuable. And I wish that, people out there are listening and watching, because honestly, this is gems that you're dropping right now. This is like real, reasons why people fail in their relationships. And they're also trying to figure out why. And they're looking externally when actually the problem is internal. There is another wound, obviously, the sister wound. Can you explain that to me as well, please?
Oh yeah. So if you were a little girl and you were compared a lot, so I'm half Iranian, I'm half Polynesian, and I was always like, when I was young, people used to call me Aborigine because I literally looked like an Aborigine when I was younger. I had that indigenous look, and my sisters were pure white, fair, light brown hair, big eyes, and everyone used to call me like the dark one and the ugly one. That's a sister wound, where you are compared to your environment and you are told you're not pretty enough. So as females, we are born with value. Men have to work for their value. So we are born with beauty. We have such value that everything we have multiplies. When we are given something, we multiply it. But if you have that sister wound, you will dilute yourself and you will act like something you're not to fit in. You are meant to stand out. You are meant to show people your aura. You're meant to show people your feminine power. But if you were compared to your sisters or even your cousins or even your friends at school, maybe your parents said to you, why can't you be intelligent like her? Why can't you talk like her? Why do you act like a boy? I was a tomboy when I was little. So I used to wear hooded caps, I used to wear trainers. And my mom used to always say to me, like, why do you dress like a boy? And it's not because I was dressing like a boy, it's just how I was expressing myself, right? But when you have that belief in your mind that I'm different, that's what creates a sister wound. It creates a gap.
And how do you overcome this? We've obviously described it, with the mother, the father, the sister wound. So if anyone kind of recognizes kind of these sort of, traits within them, how can they start sort of unraveling? Obviously, it takes sessions, it takes a professional, but, what other steps can someone do even just to, get on that sort of like ladder of, trying to get out of it?
Yeah. So number one thing I do is journaling. So I always say to my clients, what you can do is journal to figure out what the beliefs are in your mind. So this is what I do. If I was to, let's say I feel like I'm not lovable. So if you know you have a mom, you wound, or a daddy wound, and you're attracting like toxic men or men who don't want to commit to you, I want you to write on a piece of paper, I'm not lovable because, and then allow your mind to empty itself. The pen and paper is very powerful. Allah says He created the pen first. This is very powerful to do this. So write down on a piece of paper, I'm not lovable because. That word because triggers your subconscious mind to unlock all the memories. And then what you're going to do on the other side of the piece of paper, you're going to say, love doesn't want me because. So you're looking at love in both sides. You're looking at it from your angle, and you're looking at it from love from that angle, from the opposite angle. And you're going to write, love doesn't want me because, and it's going to trigger all the memories, and you'll be able to write it all down. Once you've written it all down, I want you to read that piece of paper, and I want you to realize this is your belief system around love. This is what you believe that love is meant to be. You will find so many beliefs that I'm not lovable because my dad didn't love me, my mom didn't want me, my mom said I'm ugly, my dad didn't like me. All these things are going to come out. It's like a purge, and you're going to be faced with a lot of beliefs, and it's going to make you want to cry. Like I've had a lot of clients wanting to cry, like, oh my gosh, I didn't know this was in my subconscious mind. And memories will be triggered. You're going to remember times when you were a little girl where you didn't fit in, where you were told off, where you were judged, where you were bullied, and it's going to make you want to cry. Let yourself cry. I know you're a strong woman. I know like you like putting on a front and guarding yourself, but in that moment where you want to cry, release it, because your body will heal. And what happens is when we want to cry, it's because our body has stored the trauma. When your subconscious mind is filled with data, the body has to store the trauma. So when you want to cry, it's because you want to purge, you want to release the shame. Then what you're going to do is, once you release that shame, burn that paper, throw it away, stamp on it, say, I'm never going to believe this ever again. And then I want you to write on a piece of paper, I am lovable because, and allow yourself to rewrite your story, rewrite your life. You can rewrite your life. You can rewrite your memories, you can rewrite your past, you can forgive yourself, you can love yourself. And then on the other side of the piece of paper, say, love wants me because. Allow yourself to rewrite your story. And then when you finish, read it to yourself and imagine you're reading a bedtime story to your little girl. So I like to do this, like, hey, Rosie, we're going to read a little bedtime story. And I'm going to read this story to you. And we're going to get really intimate. Get a hot chocolate, sit down, imagine you're talking to a little girl, get a picture of yourself as a little girl and talk to her and say, I'm lovable because I'm amazing, I'm unique, I'm different. Everyone likes me because I like myself. Talk to her. So listen, this is who we are. And when the more you connect with yourself, the more you connect with your little girl, you are going to then grow up and you're going to feel safe to be loved. This is very key. In order for you to receive love, you have to feel safe. And the way you feel safe is by rewriting the story in your mind.
These are really powerful, powerful techniques. And I'm so glad I asked the question because, again, it is something that we kind of miss, these things that, yes, it's great to work with somebody, but if, you take these steps, because even if you work with somebody, you have to take the initiative yourself. So what you've shared, again, is extremely powerful in the sense that you understanding your story is not necessarily the truth. And even if it is, it's not necessarily your future. And by us recreating our past is actually using our imagination. So all of this is in today's psychology and terminology of law of attraction, manifestation, and you can name it and label it however you want. But honestly, when you do the work, just like how Rosalind has described, you will really unravel. And the power of writing is so true. I definitely agree to that. It just makes such a difference to taking it out of your head, and it actually does in itself release you of that burden of you having and holding that thought. So again, we are coming into another break, so you've left us again on another high, and I can't wait to question you even deeper and further about this. But again, just to understand that this is all to sort of like reprogram your mind, your brain, so that you can actually take action. A lot of us don't realize that. And again, we are trying to put blame on the environment and on other people and thinking if that changes, if they change, if, this happens and that's how life is going to be, we don't realize the power is within and everything is in your hands. And it really can be done regardless of your circumstance. And when you work with coaches, they will lead you through that same path that you have been walking for the last 10 years, but you'll have a different after a few sessions with a professional. So make sure you take that into account. And we are coming into our second break right now. Again, not go away. We will be talking to our lovely guest, Rosalind, in a few moments. And I hope to see you join us. And also, if you want to participate in the conversation, all of the details are at the bottom of the screen. And we will see you in a few moments. Take care. See you shortly. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to Single Muslim Live here on British Muslim TV, sponsored by SingleMuslim.com. Rosalind and I were talking in the break just a few seconds ago, and I really want her to say it now because, again, I know the show, we have a lot of people talking about, women healing and helping women, but honestly, these techniques are both for men and women. But you mentioned something really important when I actually said that about the difference between men and women. And so what is that? Please remind me.
Yeah, so these techniques are for both men and women, and it's very easy to change your mindset overnight. But I believe men need it more because men, like I was saying before, men aren't born with that value. They have to work for it. That means they're in a lower vibration than women. Women have already ascended when they're born. We're born with value. That's why in the Quran we are so protected. So men have to protect the women because it's not in their nature to protect women. It's not in a man's nature to protect and provide. Allah has commanded men to do it. So when men do this work and they transcend and they become enlightened and they become awakened, that's when you're going to see the dynamic change in relationships. That's when women are going to feel so much more safer in a marriage and a relationship because the men are being men. The men are being masculine. So this works for men. So if men are watching and you think, it's not going to work for me, it will. Like my husband's a testimony to it because his mindset has changed so much since we've been married because of the work I do. It just naturally progresses. It just naturally attaches to a man. Like the man recharges in the feminine energy. The more the woman feels safe with her husband, the more the man is going to awaken and enlighten.
Yeah, that's so true. And I do also love the fact that you said it is quite simple, these techniques. And obviously, your mental state is important to attract a masculine man. I know in this day and age and in this sort of society, it's very difficult to say that with a lot of people because they just want to change that sort of natural nature and being within, genders or whatever it may be. But that's another episode and another story and a topic, which I will get to, I'm sure. But how is it that masculine, successful alpha women find a loving partner when they heal the daddy wound? Is that even a possibility?
Oh yeah, girl. I'm an alpha woman, and I'm guessing you're an alpha woman too for him. And I believe that alpha women run the game. Like we are the original community builders. I feel like men get their game from us because we're so alpha. We're so abundant, we're so magnetic. We're everything comes to us so easily. Like when I speak to I've had male coaches in the past and they can't understand how I make so much money. I'm just relaxing. I'm in bed half the time. I'm just relaxing, playing with my kids. I'm not working hard. That's because I'm feminine. It's natural for me. So I believe that women have this misconception that they have to let go of their alpha nature in order to attract a man. No, you don't have to. I'm still alpha. Around my husband, sometimes I have my alpha traits come out. You just need to work on yourself, heal that daddy wound. That's like I mentioned before, journaling. Looking at the memories in your subconscious mind. And then this is what you're going to do. This is how I attracted my husband in 10 days. I attracted my husband in 3 weeks and got married in 10 days. This is how I did it. What I started to do at night is imagine I was married. That's all I did. And this is how powerful your subconscious mind is. Every night I would go to bed and I was homeless with 3 children. I was divorced with 3 kids. I was living out of my car. And I was saying to myself, you know what? I refuse to believe that this is going to be my reality. This is not my reality. I refuse to live this way. So every night I used to believe I'm a millionaire. I used to pretend you know what, there's so much money coming my way. I used to look at my bank account, even though it was zero, I was like, you know what, That's 6 zeros. That's 1 million. That's not 0 0. That's 6 zeros. And then I would imagine that I'm kissing my husband goodnight and he's telling me, I love you, Rosie. You're the best wife in the world. I love being with you. You've changed my life. And then I would wake up in the morning and I would journal and I would write a scene of me and my husband, like in the present tense. So I remember writing in my journal, me and my husband, we just took a walk on the beach. The sun is setting. Me and my husband are holding our hands, and my husband saying, "You're the best thing that's ever happened to me. I love you so much." And we're watching the sunset. And subhanAllah, two years later, I moved to Gambia like 2 years ago, and that exact moment happened. Like, not recently, but 2 years ago. That exact moment that I journaled about happened. We went to the beach. I live just opposite the beach. I can see the sea. We walked on the beach, and he was saying the exact same things to me. So this is so powerful. Like, I want you to understand, your imagination creates your reality. And we know this because Allah says He doesn't change your condition until you change yourself. Your condition, your environment is a reflection of what's going on in here. Nothing happens in your environment until it happens in here. Your environment is a mirror. I just want you to imagine your environment is a mirror. It's reflecting you, what you believe about yourself. If you believe it's hard to find a man, it's going to be hard. If you believe it's hard to find a wife, it's going to be hard. If you believe men and women are toxic, you're going to attract toxic men and women. If you believe it's hard to make money, that's exactly what's going to happen because it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Your subconscious mind is like Google. It's like a Google search. If you type in it's hard to find men, good men, Google search is going to show you all the reasons why it's hard to find good men. All the memories will come up of your dad not loving you. All the reasons why relationships didn't work. But if you were to say to yourself, there's great men in the world, I'm married, if you just pretend you're married, like, when you're a little girl and you have tea parties, just imagine you're married. It works. Like, I'm being serious, it does work. I'm the living proof of it.
I understand what you're saying, and I totally agree with it. But a lot of people do find it so hard. I've got so many like clients myself, or even colleagues, and it's so difficult for them to get out of that habit and pattern of knowing that they've had so much bad luck, and they just know that like you said, they recreate that because that's all they remember. Do you think that it's a combination or one thing you can get away from a belief, a thought, and writing down, or do you need all three? Can you just imagine and can it still come into fruition, or do you feel that you have to do that sort of extra steps? And if those extra steps need to be done, what exactly is it?
Yeah, so the first thing you need to do is forgive yourself. You need to forgive yourself for not knowing better. And I say forgiveness is giving up hope that the past will change. Forgiveness is giving up hope that the past will change. When you are living in the past, when you're thinking, I want you to imagine, you've left that relationship, but you're still living in the relationship by thinking about it. The relationship is ended, it's in the past. So your past, your present, and your future is all living simultaneously in your mind. And I want you to imagine the past is like an undercurrent. And we know, like, when you go swimming, the undercurrent is very strong. It can pull you in. So your past is the undercurrent. Your present is just like this linear, it's just like like a flatliner. And then the future is also an overcurrent, is a wave. But what happens is when we get so entrenched in the past by not forgiving, and I'm not saying forgive the person, because I know what if I'm like letting the person back in. No, you have to forgive yourself for not knowing better. And this is a lesson you have to learn. So when you look back at your past relationship, this is what I did. Okay, what do I need to learn about myself? Well, Rosie, you need to learn not to let people take advantage of you. You have to learn to say no. You have to listen to your intuition. How many times have you been ignoring the red flags? You're running through red flags like it's a sign. It's not a sign. The red flag is a red flag. Right? You're not looking for green flags because red flags feel so familiar to you. And you have to ask yourself, why do these red flags feel so beautiful to me? Why do I get butterflies in my stomach? It's not butterflies in your stomach. It's trauma bonding, right? The red flag is telling you, don't go here. It's your past. Your past is here. Run away. But because you're so familiar with chaos, with feeling unloved and unlovable, you will run towards it. So all you have to do in that moment, and I know we believe it's hard, but I want you to understand it this way. If I tell you to think of a pink elephant, how easy is it to think of a pink elephant? So easy, right? Everyone's thinking of pink elephants right now. If I tell you to think of a blue dragon, you can think of a blue dragon. The same way you can prompt your subconscious mind. It's so easy for you to prompt what you want in the future. And here's a task I want all of you to do. whenever you like, I want to imagine your thoughts are like a train and it's chugging, chug, chug, chug. It's just going, going, going. You can interrupt the path. Say, hey, listen, I know you're talking right now. I hear you. I know you're trying to keep me safe, but I don't want to listen to you right now. Because you know what? You're going to derail me, and life is great right now, and you're trying to take me down the past, and I don't want to go down the past. I want to walk towards my future with abundance. Because really what it is, when you're living in the past, you're entertaining yourself. Fear is entertainment. We use fear to entertain ourselves. We use fear to tell ourselves the unknown is way more scary than our comfort zone. Fear is there to let us know that if we walk out of our comfort zone, we might die. That's basically what it is. So if you just say to yourself, I'm noticing myself being afraid right now. I'm noticing myself thinking very negative thoughts. Hold up 1 second. I know you're trying to keep me safe. I get it. I know in the past we went through some really horrible relationships. I get it. It's not your fault. Put your hand on your heart. Say, it's not my fault. It's not my fault. I didn't know any better. But you know what? Because I know better now, I'm going to do better. And the first step I'm going to take is to think better. So what can I think of right now about my future? I'm going to think that Allah loves me. Allah wants me to be happy. And I guarantee this is the first thing you think in your mind, that Allah's punishing you. No, he's not. He just wants you to learn a lesson. So the first thing you want to think is, Allah loves me. Allah wants me to win. Allah is spoiling me. I love saying Allah is spoiling me all the time. Allah loves spoiling me. When I was homeless, I was saying to myself, Allah loves spoiling me every single day. Just keep saying, Allah loves spoiling me. And the more you just force yourself, like it's a force, you just gotta, you know what? Pink elephants, Allah loves me. Pink elephants, Allah wants me to win. I'm lovable. Life is great. Oh my God, abundance is coming to me. Everything is coming to me. Everything wants me. The more you get into that state, your feeling is going to change, and it's good. You're going to get addicted to that. I guarantee I'm addicted to feeling good. I don't like going into negativity and drama anymore. I just love feeling good. And the more you get used to it, the more you focus on your thoughts, you're going to get addicted to that feeling.
How specific do you need to be? Because there might be people, okay, forget thinking about the past, but they might be actually manifesting and wanting that particular person, for example, not right for them. So what do you do then?
Sorry, say that again, Fahima.
I was just talking about thinking about the past, but you actually thinking about the future, and how specific do you need to be? Because some people might actually be manifesting the wrong person.
Right. So when it comes to the future, all you have to do is focus on the feeling. It's not the husband that you want. This is the thing. You don't want the husband. You want the love. You want the safety. So all you have to do is feel the safety in your body right now. Feel it. You can feel safety. If I tell you feel safe, you're going to feel safe. Feel loved. You're going to feel loved. All you have to do is feel it in your body. You don't have to think about what that person looks like or what that marriage is going to look like. It's the feeling you want. The feeling attracts what you want.
I think that's really important. And I'm glad I asked that question as we are coming into our final break in a few moments. But it is true, because I think a lot of us, even if we're not talking about the past, we're looking at the future and we're being a bit specific. And that's why we might not get it, because, again, it's more about the feeling. And I love that. So, yes, we are coming on to our final break. Please don't go away, as we've got a few more moments with Rosalind. I'm so enjoying this conversation, and I'm sure you will join us in a few moments so that we can actually finish off the show nicely with asking more questions to Rosalind and hopefully getting some more tips for you. Salam and welcome to Single Muslim Live here on British Muslim TV, sponsored by SingleMuslim.com. I am so infected right now. I am so high right now in a good way, because honestly, my guest, she doesn't just talk the talk. If you actually understand that she's literally sending out an aura, which I can feel through the screen, and I'm sure if anyone's listening right now, it's, when she talks about being positive, when she talks about being, this natural sort of like way of happiness, you can feel it, you can sense it. It is so genuine and authentic. And I love that about you, because you actually do bring out exactly what you say in your personality and your character. And it is infectious and it is quite addictive. I have to say so myself. And I'm absolutely, loving this conversation. I can talk to you in another hour easily. But I'm just so happy that you're here with us tonight. And honestly, again, I just want to thank you for your time, especially all the way from the Gambia in Africa. It's like we've never had anyone like that on the show here. So that's a first. And obviously, you've hit us with so many different techniques and so many different things, which I think, what I love about you is that when you leave this conversation, anyone literally can go home tonight and they can practice it straight away and start making a change and a difference. And that's what I love about the way you work. And I don't want to wait till the end of the show because I don't want to miss this. How do people get to you? How do people work with you and get that infectious way of being, which is so lovable, and inshallah, improve their lives? So tell us, how do we get hold of Rosalind?
So you can send me a DM on Rosalind Patula Instagram. And Instagram, I'm very active. I'm always doing lives there. I'm always in my stories. So send me a DM on Instagram. I also have my 8-week program, my Sacred Feminine Pleasure program, and it's going to help you release all your love blocks and heal your daddy wound, your mommy wound, your sister wound in 8 areas of your life. So hit me up on Instagram.
Amazing. I really do urge anyone who is listening right now to follow Rosalind and don't miss on any of those gems that she keeps sharing as well, which I love. And if you want to work with her, one-on-one. Now, there is a difference also between, being lusted after and provided for are different, right? And when you have a daddy wound, will make sexual attention for commitment. Now, that is quite common, and I do want to address that because, we can mistaken those sort of like, those high chemicals for things that is, not necessarily in that way. So how would somebody overcome that and heal from that and actually have more sort of like really sort of like good general relationships, which is healthy? And it's not necessarily either just physical or either just, just about intimacy. And that gives them that some kind of high when actually it should be something else that they should be seeking.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one. And thank you for pointing that out and mentioning that, because when we're young girls, we seek validation of like that attention through our father. And when we don't get it, we will, when we hit puberty and boys start being attracted to us and we're attracted to boys, we mistake that attention for love. And I see this is happening a lot, that women are mistaking sexual attention for love. And they're telling themselves, well, he told me that he thinks I'm pretty, so that must mean he likes me. And that must mean I am lovable and I am worthy. And that must mean I am valuable, because your dad is meant to teach you you're valuable just by being who you are. So the way for you to overcome that, there's a few things that you have to do. You have to, what's happening is your nervous system is being triggered. Your nervous system is going into freeze or fawn, fight or flight. And when a boy gives you attention, the body releases all the oxytocin, the serotonin, it releases adrenaline as well. It releases all those feel-good hormones, and that's how you trauma bond. That's how you pair bond. So what you need to do in that moment, if you're having a conversation with a guy and you're feeling those kind of like urges and you're thinking like, oh my God, he's giving me attention and I love it, or you've had a commitment, or you've had like a relationship with a man and you feel guilty for it, you need to sit with yourself. And I want to let you know it's not your fault. I really want you to understand. I really want you to let those words penetrate in your heart. It's not your fault. And that's not your guilt, and that's not your shame to carry. And what you're going to do is you're going to imagine, I was going to imagine, close your eyes. And if you have that guilt and that shame coming up inside of you, I want you to imagine you're pulling it out of your body and you're putting it in a bubble. And I want you to give it back to Allah and say, hey, Allah, I can't deal with this. Too much shame, too much guilt. Take it back. This is not my burden to carry. Please heal me. Release it from me. And then what you're going to do is you're going to give yourself a hug. When you hug yourself, it releases oxytocin. When you hug yourself and you imagine you're cradling your little girl, the younger version of yourself, you're going to release that suppressed anger. Really what you're feeling is anger. You're feeling a lot of frustration and anger towards your dad. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to get back at your dad, or you're trying to fix your dad by getting with a man who doesn't love you. So remember, it's not your fault. It's not, you're not on this planet to blame yourself. You're not here to judge yourself. You are here to transcend, learn lessons, and experience life. The more you experience life and learn the lessons, the quicker you're going to heal. And you will heal permanently. The more you tell yourself, it's not my fault, but I know better now. And you're going to take responsibility for your actions. And the way you take responsibility is by healing that little girl within who doesn't feel loved. And you can have a conversation with her. You can get a picture of yourself when you were younger and say to her, look at yourself in the mirror. Like I like telling my clients to look in the mirror and talk to themselves. Tell yourself the words you wish your dad would have told you. I remember I wish my dad said to me, I love you. You're a great daughter. I was the only daughter he had. I have 15 brothers. On my dad's side, I was the only girl he had. And I just wish my dad said to me, you're the best thing that ever happened to me. So I say that to myself every single day in the mirror. You're the best thing that's ever happened to me. I love you so much, Rosie. And look at yourself in the mirror. Like, look at yourself in the eyes. You're going to feel a bit awkward doing this. You're going to think, oh my God, this is so silly. This is so icky. That's even more reason for you to do it, because you are releasing those suppressed emotions that you suppressed since you were a little girl. So look in the mirror, say, baby girl, it's not your fault. I'm here for you. I've got your back. I know you're feeling these emotions. I know these guys giving you attention, but it's not the attention you want. You want a man to commit to you. You want someone to make you your wife. You want to be someone's wife. You want someone to honor you. And you are so worth it. You are so valuable. You are good enough. You're worthy. You're deserving. You're lovable. And the more you prime yourself, the more you tell yourself that I can guarantee you, those kind of guys you will not feel attracted to them anymore.
Yeah, that is so true. Because again, people always like, why am I always falling in the same circle with the same sort of like people that are, sort of recreating? And it is true. So, it's really important, like you mentioned about, trying to heal yourself and take the steps to do that, because again, it filters to your children and how important that is. We've only got 5 minutes left, and I really want to give you this opportunity to sort of like end the show with some final thoughts. And anyone that's struggling as a single person, or someone who's been married before and looking, or even a parent, I think it's important that we also give advice to parents. We don't have excuses now like our parents' generation, because a lot of this information is quite widely known and available. So I want you to take it away with some final thoughts in the next, 2-3 minutes to sort of like, end the show with your sort of last words.
Yeah, so I want you to remember that Allah really wants you to win. Allah wants you to win. Allah wants you to succeed, and He really, really loves you. And I know for a long time you've been shaming yourself and you've been guilty yourself. Maybe you're in a bad relationship and you told yourself, I'm so silly, I'm so stupid. Maybe you've been telling yourself, I'll never find a man because no one loves me. Maybe you've been telling yourself, I'm such a bad mom. I just want to let you know it's not your fault. And I also want you to take this concept that you're not a victim. And what it is that we become victims to our thoughts. Our enemies, our friends, our neighbors live in here. Our exes, our abusers live in here. Forgive yourself. Forgive yourself for not knowing any better. And you are very good at forgiving yourself. You are better at forgiving yourself than most people. Tell yourself every single day, girl, I forgive you. It's okay. I've got your back. When you say to yourself, I've got your back, you are going to stand up for yourself and you're going to raise your self-esteem. So just remember, you're not a victim. Getting out of victim consciousness means becoming aware of your thoughts. Telling yourself every single day, I think thoughts. I am not my thoughts. I can think them. I'm separate from my thoughts. I'm able to observe my thoughts. I'm able to observe the thoughts that are negative. I'm able to observe the thoughts that are positive. If I can think about a pink elephant, I can definitely observe better thoughts. I'm very good. I'm powerful. And I want you to take back your power from every single person that has hurt you. And the way you're going to take back your power is saying these 4 statements. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. So I want you to imagine the people who have hurt you in your life, they stood right in front of you. And I want you to close your eyes and I want you to say out loud, thank you. I'm sorry. I love you. Please forgive me. Those 4 statements, when you say them out loud, they're going to come back to you. Because remember, your environment's a mirror. Everything bounces back to you. You're not saying to people, I forgive you, come back into my life. Yeah, let's have fun. You're not saying that. You're just telling people, I'm letting you go. I'm no longer going to allow you to ruin my life. I'm taking back my power. You have power within you. And I really want you to own your power. No one can take away your power without your permission. And the way you give them permission is by thinking about them. So let them go. Tell yourself, I didn't know better. I forgive you. I forgive you. Give yourself a hug and tell yourself, I can think better thoughts. And that's how you're going to create the reality that you want. That's how your world is going to change. That's how your world is going to transform. And that's how you're going to heal permanently.
Amazing. Wow. What you've given us is just some really, simple tactics which we can take home and literally, again, like I said, do on your own. But again, people find it very hard to actually do this for themselves. So inshallah, do get in touch with Rosalind. It's important that you do find professionals to, hold you accountable and take you through the steps, because I think it's really important. And I just want to say again, honestly, it's been such a pleasure. It went by so quickly, and thank you so much for joining me tonight.
Thank you so much for having me. This was such a pleasure, Fahima. I love this conversation with you. Thank you so much for being just a light in the world. May Allah continue to bless you and enlighten you. Ameen.
Honestly, you're the shining one tonight, and I absolutely enjoyed this conversation. And inshallah, I hope to collaborate with you much more. And I just also want to wish you good luck and blessings for your continuation in your business and your success, because I know how much it means to you. And all you want to do is not just have that success for yourself, but to transfer it to everybody else. And that's what I love about you. So please continue as you are. And, you're the one that's really shining and, always giving that light out to everyone. Thank you so much for everyone that's tuned in tonight. And again, I do urge you to please do rewind and watch the show from the beginning, because I think it will be useful to everyone and you will definitely benefit. Again, we'll be next week on the same time with another guest and topic. Please don't forget to join us. And I do, appreciate all of you watching and viewing tonight. I wish you a very good evening. Assalamu alaikum.